everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Raluca and in today's video you will see a time-lapse of a portrait study that I did 4 days ago. So the actual paper that I'm using here is a random one that I found in my old apartment while I was cleaning stuff around the house. What I do actually remember about it is that I ordered it from Guache and it came from China. But actually that's all that I know about this. So as an observation though, I can say that it has texture to it and also it's quite thick. So you may think that if it has these two characteristics, it may be suitable for watercolor, but for me it wasn't my cup of tea at all. So the watercolor didn't flow as it should do on a good and proper watercolor paper, and because this one was more towards cold pressed watercolor paper, using colored pencils on top of it really turned out into a massive disaster. But anyways, I will stop right there with the cons, and a nice thing that I can say about it is that the colors that I used look more vibrant compared to my Fabriano mixed media paper. Okay, so now that I tackled this subject, I want to talk a bit about my process and what I am doing in the video. First, what I usually do is I place washes of a color that I stick out from the reference image, a color that is present in the whole piece, and in this case was Indian red, orange, combined with a bit of Indian red, and I use a lot of water to tone it down. So afterwards, when it's completely dried, I focus on the parts that are in shadow and I like to sculpt them with the same color that I used before, but a bit more concentrated, meaning that I don't add that much water to it. And after that, I choose a color for the more intense shadows on the face. It could be like a grayish or blue grayish tone, or a more warmer tone, like a warmer gray, depending on the reference. So that would be the process with the watercolor. With the color pencils, I like to sculpt and to render the main parts of the face first. For example, the eyes, the nostrils, the mouth, and after I have an idea of those elements, I think that I can work my way out to the cheeks, the forehead, and the eyebrows. So I'm juggling between watercolor and color pencils, as you can see in the footage. First thing that I like to do is the face, just because when you do a portrait you do have to make sure that the face turns out good, and then you can render the other elements from your composition. At least this is how I like to approach a painting. What I should say, one particular thing that I'm still struggling with is rendering hair. I find it really difficult for some reason, so I still need to study more how to paint hair. Obviously, what I'm gonna say is that I'm not a professional artist. I haven't went to a college for fine arts. I haven't took classes either, so everything that I studied, I did by myself, looking at YouTube tutorials, reading some books about simple anatomy for artists. So I still have a long journey ahead of me, and I know that I need to improve in many areas. But you know what? That doesn't stop me to share with you guys my journey as a self-taught artist. I do think that would encourage you as well to make this step forward if you are passionate about art and if you like to draw and paint like me. As a conclusion for this piece, I did struggle a lot because, like I said in the beginning, the paper wasn't that great and the gouache that I used wasn't that good either. So this gouache that I bought 2 months ago is really not that opaque and is very gooey. And for some reason, it doesn't stick that great to the paper. No matter what paper I'm using, it just doesn't cooperate with me that well. The type of gouache that I think it is doesn't even specify that on the box. So taking a guess, it's like a watercolor gouache, not an acrylic gouache. So in the future, I do plan to invest in a better gouache set, either watercolor or acrylics, doesn't matter as long as it's a good quality set. So one thing that I do regret doing is messing the background. I wish that I stick to the watercolor background that I did in the beginning, but I had to correct the hair, and the only thing that I came up with was adding gouache. So it took me about 3 hours to finish this, so it wasn't that bad, because sometimes with larger paintings I go for 5 or 6 hours, depending how complex the composition is. Now, looking at the reference picture, it definitely doesn't look exactly like the model. Like you can see the hair, for example, in mine is completely red and hers is like a strawberry blonde. So I definitely do struggle as well with values and hues, but as I said before, if you continue practicing, you will definitely see improvements in your work. For example, on this painting, I can definitely see improvement compared with my other paintings. So the question that would conclude this time lapse would be, is it good? Well, to be completely honest with you, it's not that bad, but that would be quite a subjective opinion, because, you know, if you take my painting and if you compare it with those that professional artists do, this would be rubbish, complete rubbish. But you know what? I am not going to do that, because I know it's not gonna bring me anything good, only bitterness perhaps. But you know, don't get me wrong, I do watch other artists and I do like to study their approach on tackling a painting, and I do learn a lot from them. And what I learn and observe, I like to try it myself, and if it works, I like to include it into my work as well. But comparing yourself to them when you are at the beginning, and if you're still learning, it's just going to discourage you, and sometimes even makes you giving up completely. Now, I really want to do more videos on YouTube, posting more often. I think that one video a week, it's the schedule that I want for this channel, and because I am at the beginning, I really need your advice. And if you have some great ideas for some future videos, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. I would be really grateful if you would do that. I don't know, maybe you want to see a video where I am painting a cat or a flower or some characters that you love, or maybe you want a tutorial format. Let your imagination loose, surprise me. If you also want to see more of my work, I have an Instagram account where you can find me as well. It's Raluca Art, and on Facebook as well is the same, Raluca Art. I will leave a link down below for you. And I think that's all that I have to say, guys. I'm gonna let you enjoy the rest of this video with a beautiful classic music in the background. So if you enjoyed this video and if you wanna see more, go ahead and give me a like, push that notification bell, and also subscribe to my channel, because that would definitely encourage me to post more content. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!